That's what I'm trying to do. Hello, everyone. Hi, Craig. You won with your Spanish and everything. How beautiful. Thanks, Pete. Pete's just brought me a box of tissues because I've got the hay fevers since I got back. All this bloody regen ag is creating a lot more grasses and a lot more grass pollen, I think. It's a bit of a shock. Anyway, we will carry on. Hello, David. How you going? Hello, Peter and Karen. Fiona, g'day. Kay, hello. And chicken sandwiches and Shady at the ready. I thought chicken sandwiches might be quite popular tonight, and I really wanted to have a play with, I don't know if John and Cotty are on yet. They haven't said hello yet, but Cotty brought me some beautiful honey from their bees that was waiting for me when I got home. And I have, on occasion, really enjoyed a sort of semi-hard cheese like the Osso Arati, which we just happened to have some left over from the last lunch. Some of Cotty and John's beautiful honey. Hopefully it'll be delicious. Hopefully it won't be too sweet. Sweet and salty can work quite well with semi-aged Chardonnay. Kay has a whiting fish sandwich with loaded chippies with grated cheese and honey. Ooh, yum. Caesar salad, Linda. Good work. Excellent. I think that chicken Caesar salad recipe that I sent out looks quite good. It's not the traditional one that we did previously, which you can also do. I know Sue was talking about doing that. Yeah, excuse my snuffling. Anyway, more importantly, how's everyone been for the last 2 weeks? I missed you, although I did have a wonderful time in Argentina, as anyone who follows me on Instagram probably will have seen. I did a little trial with doing more stories and less posts, so I'll be interested to know if that worked for people. Trying to get, with the social medias, how the young people do it. But Kay, following the Instagram, no, didn't miss me too much. Joan's gone with deep fried camembert, Scottish cheddar, honey, and cranberry. Yum, delicious. I did do a lot of smiling, David. It was so much fun. I couldn't get the smile off my face. And every time I turned around and saw the snow-covered Andes in the background, it was like, I can't believe I'm here. The geography was incredible. Some of the wines were really outstanding. Some were a bit kind of clunky, but in general, it was a huge adventure of learning and tasting and exhausting, but also very exhilarating. So definitely worthwhile. And I highly recommend going to Argentina as a result. The Dyes are here. Hello. Lovely to see you. Well, I think I should probably get my bottle of wine going, shouldn't I? 2016 Moorooduc Estate Chardonnay. So Fiona glazed the first Christmas ham. Whoa, Fiona, what is the glaze that you use? Does it have honey in it? Okay, that opened very easily. I must say, I had a lot of Malbec and a lot of Torrentes. I did have some lovely Chardonnays in Argentina and even a couple of very nice Pinots, but I did miss my regular dose of Chardonnay and Pinot here. John and Cotty in your hotel room having done cheese and Moorooduc Estate Chardonnay before dinner at Patsy's. Ah, fantastic. Lovely to see you. Where are you, Cotty and John? I've forgotten that you guys were going away. So here we go. I'm going to pop that in a glass. I have brought a decanter and I've got 2 glasses. $200 ml. This is Fiona's ham glaze, maple syrup, seeded mustard, Worcester sauce, soy sauce. Yum, that sounds delicious. Based every 15 minutes till it's gone. That sounds like a very good Christmas ham and a good time to start doing Christmas ham. It is awesome without decanting, and I'm not going to bother decanting it. Has anyone out there decanted it? Melbourne to catch up with friends and family. How lovely. Hello, Jeff and Sue. How are you going? Pete's having a beer, but if you want some wine, Pete, let me know. No need at all. I agree. I think it's very open. It's very ready to go. So cheers, everyone. I love the nose. It's very lifted. It's got some really nice... Hey, Shell! How you going? You and Andrew had a big week. Glad you made it. I'm going to try and show you my cheese and honey without dripping honey on the computer. So here we go. Can you see? we go. I've just drizzled some honey over the top of the cheese, so I don't need to worry about that later. Got some Crispies from Peter to have it on. I might just eat the cheese and the honey without any bread. Go gluten-free tonight. It smells... Sorry, Pete? I do like your Crispies a lot. That's why I got them. Sorry, just kicked the table, wobbled the computer. That's not very professional. Jill, you have to bring your wine glass in if you want some of this wine. Richard's doing stuff in the laboratory. Jill's had a friend over. Everyone's been very busy. It's the first hot day down here, apparently. I think you had a couple of hot days while I was away, it looked like. But it's nice to have the sun out. It's good with the honey. I'm glad, Kay. So, yeah, it's got a honey note on it. Oh, my God. Can you hear that? There's a kookaburra and a sulphur-crested cockatoo outside fighting for dominance. If you heard that in the background. And the dogs are being so good today. Hey, Paul? Polly was pleased to see me. So honey, a little bit of almost preserved lemon and a bit of lemon curd on the nose. It's got some really lovely sort of developing white peach, a little bit of aniseed coming through. You're right, Fiona, a minerally wet stone kind of a note on the back of the nose. I could just smell it all day. On the palate, it's delicious. Nareem, those conversations reminded you to order your normal Christmas stuff from the butcher. Well, it's getting to that time of year. It's going to be December in a week and a couple of days, Sunday week. That's pretty terrifying. So, yes, it's all upon us. 5 weeks ago, I know. Honey halloumi brings out the lemon tang for you, Shell. Excellent. I'm going to have a little bit of my honeyed Osso Arati. And Connie and John, this honey is just gorgeous. Thank you. So the Spanish like to have, and the Argentinians, membrillo or quince paste with cheese. The French will serve Osso Arati with cherry jam. If you've been to one of our lunches, we had a couple of lunches this year which we served that cheese with the cherry jam to go with Pinot Noir. What's Craig saying? I'm struggling with the honey. I think I like it without. It loses some freshness but concentrates the lemon. Absolutely. I think that the problem with matching honey to a wine like this is that it's a dry wine. Honey is sweet. It's always going to be difficult. And one of the sort of basic rules of wine and food matching is that the food should be less sweet than the wine if you're going to be matching sweet stuff to sweet wine. So when you're having dry wine, it's not going to work with dessert. This is not dessert though, and I think it's about having just a little bit of honey, not too much honey, Craig, mostly cheese, just a little bit of honey just to give it a little bit of that beeswaxy floral note. And if your honey's quite caramelly, and if it's not, because this honey from, let's see if I can show you, this honey from John and Cotty, because it's very new, it's just come out of the thing, it's really runny. And so you can get a nice delicate drizzle over the cheese. And so you're not getting too much honey to cheese ratio. So the ratios are very important. It does go very well with the chicken, absolutely. And I would imagine chicken sandwiches and this and a Chardonnay from Moorooduc, particularly with a little bit of bottle age, is always a good thing. So what was I saying? Oh yes, in Spain they have quince paste with cheese. I think honey with cheese is a very Italian thing, and honey with cheese with a white wine with a bit of age on it is a very classic Italian way to finish the meal. And I think it's something that I really enjoy, but it is quite an acquired taste. So your cheese needs to be quite salty. to counteract the sweetness of the honey. And Coddy says, oh, you have to be super careful with commercial honey because a lot of them are doctored with sugar syrup. So that's right. I think possibly yours is too strong, Craig, but it's a trial and error thing. So I think I love leatherwood honey, for example, from Tasmania, but I'd never serve leatherwood honey with a dry white wine because it's too strong. And now I've got honey everywhere. I'm going to make everything sticky. I'm going to shove this in my mouth. Excuse me. I'll also show you having it with grilled scallops. It would be a completely different wine with grilled scallops. So this is a good example of how different food matches will make the wine taste different. As Craig said, the honey brings out the lemony character. Someone else said that as well. The honey character, Shell said that. The dyes are having I fillet steak with their shardy. Well, you know what? You can do whatever you like because you're in your own home and you can make your own rules. And if you want to drink aged Chardonnay with steak, well, then there's no one here to stop you. I think it can work very, very well as well because this is quite a full-bodied wine. So 2016 was a really lovely vintage. We've done a couple of the 16 single vineyard wines, I think, before, but not the estate. Absolutely terrible with vegan salami. Shell, I've told you before that vegan meat just doesn't really work with wine generally, is my opinion. Excuse me. Fiona's saying it's a great match. Fillet steak is delicate and shardy can be pretty bold. Absolutely. Oh, Manuka honey. Oh, Craig, that's for like, yeah, that's very strong. Sorry. So we should have like a honey masterclass and talk about which honeys are best. But a lot of the honeys down here, we've got a honey farm down the road from here, and they do a lovely mixed blossom honey. They also do an orange blossom honey, which is pretty gorgeous. So yeah, you don't want the really strong purple hive bee honey from K, Australian No Additives. So yeah, Manuka honey is really good for if you've got a sore throat. It's quite medicinal. So the medicinal character in the Manuka honey is going to really clash with the wine. So that's probably where that's not working. Craig, Manuka honey is amazing. It's a little bit like leatherwood honey in that it's got a very strong personality. But back to the wine. 2016, I think we've talked about this before, but I think it's worth talking about it again. We had two pairs of vintages, 12 and 13 were a really lovely pair of vintages where 12 was cooler, 13 was warmer. They were both delicious years. The wines from them were delicious, quite different in their character because the 13s were a bit bolder and richer because of the warmer vintage. Bye, Jill. 14 was a really difficult year, and then so we skip over 14. The wines were not dreadful. In fact, they were pretty good, and our 14 Chardonnay had a very strong struck match, flinty kind of a note to it, which we don't chase, but it was very strong in the 14s because of the weird season. Then we had 2015 and 2016, and 2015 was again a cool year and 16 was a warmer year. So if you look at the two of them together, the 15s have sort of a bit more elegance, a bit more acid, a bit more raciness, but as they're evolving, obviously they're evolving that sort of richer rounder character, whereas the 16s were always a bit riper. They were always a bit softer. They had riper fruit characters, and you're seeing that in the development of the wine. It's possibly developing a little faster from the 16 than the 15, but I think it's in a really nice place. And we have none of this left in the cellar. This is the last of the 2016 Estate Chardonnay. I think I said in my email that went out about this box, there's a number of wines that we've just taken the last 3 or 4 dozen of wine that we've had on a mixed palette for a little while. Leonie's been sorting things out, and we found 3 dozen of this. The Estate Pinot Noir 16 that we're going to be looking at in 2 weeks' time is also very, I think, very short supply. And the 2013 Estate Chardonnay was the other one that was really not a huge amount, I think. I'll check that, though, because if we do have anything to sell, then we certainly would prefer to sell it to you guys than anybody else, but I'm pretty sure that the 16 Estate Chardonnay, this is it. So enjoy it tonight, because if you don't have it in your own cellar, then this is the last time we get to look at it. There's a couple of drinks with Kate boxes left, Peter has mentioned. So if you really love it and you wanted to get another box 6, then you can certainly jump online or give Leonie a call tomorrow and grab one of those last boxes. It is, Craig, I think that's really interesting. It is opening up into a sort of lemon tart with slightly burnt caramelized shortbready crust, or short crust, that's sweet pastry. It's definitely opening up into that. It's still got some of the savory notes, but the lemon curd notes are coming up as the air gets into it. I really love excuse me, I'm just going to give my nose a little hay fever. Much better. One of these days I won't be sniffy or snortly or anything, and you'll be like, who is this person who's not sniffing at the camera? I love the honey note in the wine, and I think that in a way, David Inchley, ham with broad bean, cos lettuce, potato, spinach salad with soft-boiled eggs goes very well with this wine. I can absolutely imagine that would be amazing. So that's the other thing with this wine. I know I kind of went, because I just got back from Argentina and I hadn't got back to you with a wine and food match. So I kind of went simple, but something that I've wanted to do for a while with this cheese and honey match. But we know now that Chardonnay is so versatile. Matching with food, and you guys you're all over it. Ham salad, Caesar salad, scallops, fish sandwich, chicken sandwich. It's all good. It's also delicious with just a really beautiful roast chicken, but also amazing with if you're having, if you did happen to buy a second box of the Drinks with Kate box 6, so that you had a bottle of 2016 Chardonnay to have at Christmas, it would be fabulous with lobster if that's the way you go at Christmas. It would work very, very well. Master of rhinitis. I know, David, it's ridiculous. I think I need to go and talk to my doctor or my chemist about upping the hay fever medication, because I think I've gone through all the commercial ones and they're not doing it for me anymore. Anyway, I can still smell, so that's good, and I'm not too bad. Very minerally with a very right wheel stud. Yeah. So if you've got a oozy white mold outside sort of a cheese, one of those kind of lovely stinky oozy cheeses like the wheel stud, that's going to work really beautifully with this wine, but it is going to bring out the minerally characters because the cheese is quite cheesy and savory and quite ripe and rich as well. And I think the wheel stud that you're talking about is the Délice de Bourgogne, and it's beautiful in the little wooden box. I do love that cheese. It's very special. I usually try to have that around Christmas time as well because it's a yummy treat. So this is I do love also a Chardonnay with beautiful cheese, and I think that so often, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but I think so often in Australia and in a lot of other places in the world, we think that you need to finish the meal before you get to dessert, finish the meal with cheese, but then you have to have red wine, heavy, sometimes older red wine like a Shiraz or a Cabernet. And they certainly work with certain cheeses, but an older Chardonnay is much more versatile with cheese. It's going to work with that ooey gooey wheel stud cheese. It's going to work really well with a semi-hard sheep's milk cheese like Manchego or the Osso Arati that I'm having here. Even though we have those cheeses usually with Pinot Noir, it works really well with Chardonnay. Wash rind cheeses work well with Chardonnay. The only sort of cheese that really doesn't work with Chardonnay is a blue cheese, a too salty, tangy blue cheese, because it'll make it tastes metallic, but it'll be worse with red wine than it is with white wine. Blue cheese is, the French do a better cheese first than dessert, but still, even in France, they still think that they have to go red wine with cheese. And And then when you get one of those mixed cheese platters where you get some blue cheese and some hard cheese and some soft cheese, the hard cheese goes all right with the red wine, but then the other two really don't work. Heavy red wine after dinner, nothing could be my Andrew's father from the truth. I think that a little bit of white wine with cheese at the end of the meal is much more refreshing. Nareem was saying I sold you years ago on the aged Gruyere Chardonnay match, and that's really classic, particularly in Burgundy and the Jura. If you have an older Chardonnay with some beautiful, when you get that really good aged Gruyere that's got the little crystals of salt through it and it's kind of crunchy, it's pretty awesome. Blue cheese works very well with whiskey, absolutely, David. It also works well with Sauterne or sweet wine, but not with dry table wine, I don't think. Also, it can work. A really classic match is Stilton and vintage port in the UK. That's kind of a real Christmas thing that people will buy a whole wheel of Stilton and they'll kind of hack into it and then they'll pour port into it and kind of eat it with the port all over it and with a glass of port next to it. So pretty nice. Cotty, you forgot the rule about bringing your own wine glasses. Hotels much all shop from the same place that sells stupid wine glasses. I know, it's very annoying. We all need to have our special wine glass carrying case for when we go traveling and we want to taste wine. Linda's having corn thins with cheese and honey. Thanks again, Cotty and John. Yep, absolutely. Very special honey. Very good with the Chardonnay. Craig wants to know what's the best cheese with our Pinot. So I actually think that the Osso-Arati that I'm having, which is a semi-hard sheep's milk cheese from the Basque country. I'll try and show you. Let me get the honey off it so it doesn't drip honey all over me. But this is the Osso-Arati. It's from the Basque country in France. It's semi-hard. It's sheep milk cheese. It's quite salty, but it's got that mildness from sheep's milk cheese as compared to cow or goat's cheese. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it, and it's beautiful with Pinot Noir. Manchego also, I think, is beautiful with our Pinot Noir. I love Comté, but I like Comté better with Chardonnay than with Pinot Noir personally, Fiona. But it's all about trial and error. I think with the Pinot as well, you can go with one of those Délices de France, the Will Stud cheese that Shell and Andrew are eating today. That's delicious with a good Pinot that's kind of, either a little bit sort of delicate, red fruited, or even a Pinot that's quite rich and ripe. Really super. Comté and Gruyere are great with both. Absolutely, Anne. I'm losing track of the chat. Kate, we could buy a wine bottle in the US, but no glass allowed in the room. We went and bought an I Love New York souvenir glass to drink it with, not drinking from plastic. That's right. I think it's really difficult. I hope you brought your I Love New York glass home with you to take traveling with you again. Travel after the USA, travel wine glasses are definitely a must-have. And I look forward to hearing about your trip because that sounded like it was going to be amazing. Did you have fun? Grassel, oh gosh, David, Grassel Glass Voyage plus Cotty. I think that's a brand of glass that David's suggesting that we get. Carries 4 glasses. Excellent. My problem is that I'm always trying to travel as lightly as possible, so carrying 4 glasses is a bit excessive for me in a travel pack. I would like a little container that carries 1 glass for me, and everyone else can deal with their own glass. Excuse me. Everyone else can deal with their own glasses, I think. But I think if you remember a couple of years ago now, when I was in Sydney, I went out and I was in a hotel that didn't have any wine glasses. Only had plastic glasses and really crap water glasses. So I went out and bought those little Japanese tumblers, which actually turned out to be not terrible for Pinot Gris, I seem to remember it was that I was drinking at the time. And that surprised me, but I've got my little Japanese tumblers now at home. I don't take them traveling with me, but they're very nice for a beer or for a little gin and tonic. I don't use them for wine at home because I've got plenty of wine glasses at home. Finger Lakes was amazing, but they have not learned how to make Pinot or Chardonnay. Need to stick to Riesling and Austrian reds. I agree. It's a bit too warm. Stainless steel camping glasses, and I don't like them because I feel that they make the wine taste a bit metallic, and that might just be me being either hypersensitive or imagining it. But I don't like drinking wine out of a metal glass, even if it's stainless steel. It is tough. Excessive glass carrying. My trip to Tassie with Car Club, I couldn't put luggage in the boot due to the bottle of Tanqueray and cocktail glass for martinis my friend makes on our trips. Well, you've got to get your priorities right. Very good for a sneaky drink, Peter and Carter. Yeah, if you want to look like you're drinking coffee and you're actually drinking wine, then those metal coffee cup things can work quite well. I was going to say, Fiona, the plum polycarbonate wines are better if you can't take glass. They're better than the metal ones. I totally agree. And we've got some of the plum polycarbonate glasses here, and when I remember, I'll pack one of them because you can stuff them with your clean socks or small items, and they don't take up much room in a bag if they've got stuff inside them. So it's pretty good. Richard, are you going to have some of the 2016 Chardonnay? You're having some. You got some, did you? Oh, excellent. Oh, good. Are you going to come and talk to people about how you like it? Do you like it? He does like it. He's not coming to talk because he's had a big day and we're all a bit tired, aren't we? Jill's falling, but I don't know where Jill's gone. I think she went to feed the cat or the chooks or something. Shell, we felt the same. Hotel and drinks with Kate and steel camping glasses, metallic, but got the job done. Exactly. I think that you can taste the metal, but yeah, get the polycarbonate plum glasses, or there's another brand that they sell at a lot of retailers that's also polycarbonate glasses that tend to be the stemless ones, but they're quite small, so they're quite good for camping, and I think they're better to drink wine out of. You can buy them from the Plum website, absolutely, Fiona. How are the grapes looking, Craig wants to know. Well, I'm only just back from Argentina, but I did go and have a little look, and we think we're pretty much through flowering. Just about finished flowering, and it's been beautiful weather while I've been away for flowering to proceed well. So we're keeping our fingers crossed and touching wood that we'll continue to have lovely weather, and that it's not like last year when we got through flowering and breathed a big sigh of relief and then had a big hailstorm the week later, which was a bit depressing. So we're hoping that won't happen this year. But yeah, the grapes are looking good. The vines are looking very healthy. And we look like at the moment that we've got some very nice fruit set out there. So feeling cautiously optimistic. Coffee is having straight honey and it makes the Chardonnay taste younger. Yeah, possibly. Because without the honey, the wine has a honeyed character, but because the honey is more honeyed, then it kind of hides that honeyed character and brings out the lemony kind of freshness and brightness of the wine again, and makes it taste younger. And it also makes it taste, because the honey's got some sugar in it, it's got that sweetness, as well as the sort of beeswaxy lanolin-y character that you get in unpasteurized honey that hasn't been tampered with. Then those characters are characters that you see in the wine, but because they're stronger in the honey, they hide those characters in the wine, and you see the other characters, which is the lemon and the little bit of peachiness. So they're the younger fruit characters. Hello, Jill, you're back. She's been out in the sun gardening, and she's a bit tired, aren't you, Jill?
Exhausted.
She's exhausted. Fiona had to stop eating the tangy salad to get the honey lemon character. Yeah, I think that the tanginess is going to hide the honey lemon character, but the wine has enough richness and body to it that it can handle those kind of strong flavors that you had in your salad. A salad is tricky because of the dressing. It's not really the components of the salad; it's the dressing. And if you make your dressing too sharp, too tangy, then the acid in the salad dressing can fight with the wine. But if you've got sort of a creamy salad dressing, or more olive oil to lemon juice or vinegar or other acid, then it can work pretty well. Mostly mayo can work really well with Chardonnay, and sometimes it can fight it. It's a bit weird how that happens. Were there any Argentinian grapes I might be tempted to grow in the Mornington Peninsula? Probably not, Craig. So what did we taste? In the white wines, we had some very lovely Semillons, which are mostly old vine wines. They were planted. So Argentina is really interesting. It's not there's sort of 4 generations of Italians and Spanish immigrants who came to Argentina in the 17th and 18th century, and so there's that, and they brought grapes with them. So most of the grapes are not indigenous to Argentina, but there's one grape variety there's a couple of grape varieties. There's the Criochas or Criollas, but they pronounce double L with a shirt noise, which I found listening to Argentinian Spanish was very confusing, because I understand a little bit of Spanish, but the Argentinian accent was very difficult. So Criocha is a number of different grape varieties that either came out very, very early with the conquistadors, or were already in Argentina beforehand. And sometimes they're crosses between like a Muscat and something else. And then you've got Torrentes, and there's 3 different types of Torrentes. They're all white grape varieties. The Criochas are light red, and they're the same grape variety as Mission that they grow in Mexico, and País that they grow in Chile. So they're seen as sort of the local varieties that almost died out, and we're seeing some interest in them making them into light reds and sort of rosé styles, and they can be really delicious. Shell, I'm coming back to you about your salad, because there's all sorts of issues there that we need to talk about. Torrentes, however, was a cross between Muscat of Alexandria and one of the Criocha varieties, and it's the only grape variety that is seen as being uniquely for Argentina. It's not grown anywhere else, and it's quite unusual. In previous times it tended to be made, because it's a white grape variety, but they've only had refrigeration and stainless steel and concrete in Argentina very recently. The technology has taken a long time to get there, partly because they're so far away, and partly because there's a lot of poverty in the country. There's a lot of wealth as well, but it's not very evenly distributed. So it's taken a while for modern winemaking to hit Argentinians' shores. And Torrentes in the past was sort of picked in the heat and kind of piled on a cart, and it got into the winery. It was all kind of smushed up and bruised, and then they'd make kind of very skin contacty, heavy white wine from the grape variety, which wasn't very refreshing and was quite unappealing to an international palate. These days, there's a whole lot of different Torrentes being made. Some people are picking it earlier to get more freshness. Some people are blending it with things like Riesling. Excuse me. Some people are doing a little bit of skin contact to give it a little bit of texture, and it's a grape variety that sometimes looks a bit like Sauvignon Blanc. If it's picked early, it's got high acid and it's quite floral in its fruit expression. The best ones that I had were a little bit more like Gewürztraminer, but with higher acid, and they have this kind of unusual aromatic and flavour of sort of green melon and green pineapple, and a little bit of a spicy kind of note, which is quite hard to describe. So it's quite an unusual white wine, but the best ones are quite fresh and bright and floral, and I think much more interesting than Sauvignon Blanc, and kind of fit that sort of space in the wine drinking world. They go very well with empanadas as well, if you're looking for a food and wine match. Red grape varieties are dominant in Argentina. There's a little bit of Chardonnay being grown. There's a bit of Sauvignon Blanc. But there's a lot more red than white grapes being grown and made in Argentina, and Malbec is king. So there's a lot of Malbec, and people are playing around with different ways of making Malbec. Again, growing it in cooler, higher regions, picking it earlier to try and get it to be a bit crunchier, using lots of using lots of concrete rather than stainless steel or oak, to sort of keep the wine sort of fresher and more minerally. And some of those concrete fermenters made the wines taste quite dusty, and the tannins were quite unresolved. But when they were used well, then it made them sort of cool and a bit minerally, which was nice. Still a lot of really heavy, quite ripe Malbecs because it's got very thick skin. It doesn't take long to extract a lot of colour and tannin from the skins of Malbec, even when it's picked early, even when it's grown at high altitude, because at high altitude it's cooler, but there's a lot of sunshine. And particularly in Mendoza and the Uco Valley, but also up in Salta, they don't get a lot of cloud cover. So there's a lot of sunshine, high UV factor. So the grapes are developing very thick skins to protect themselves. And a lot of the winemakers are growing grapes still on pergola systems. So they're up high and the bunches of grapes are hanging down and being shaded by the curtain of leaves on top to stop them from getting too thick-skinned and sunburnt. And those wines can be a bit sort of a ripe underripe, can have some green kind of notes. There's a lot of people playing around with Cabernet Franc, and there's some really good Cabernet Francs coming out of Argentina, and that's probably the one grape variety that I might sort of drop into Richard and Jeremy's ear and say maybe we should be thinking about trying Cabernet Franc here again. We did it in the early days and it was too cool, and I don't think it's really something that we're passionate enough about to do. Pinot Noir, I didn't get to taste a lot of Pinot Noirs in Argentina, which was a bit disappointing, particularly down in the south. What's it called? Patagonian wine tasting. I was thinking, because everyone's talking about Patagonian Pinot Noir at the moment. We did a Patagonian wine tasting and they showed us lots of Malbecs again, which was really disappointing. But apparently there's some very good Pinot Noirs from Patagonia, and there were a couple that we tasted from up around Salta that were pretty delicious. So they're doing good things with Pinot Noir and Chardonnay now. Need sunscreen sprays like in the Hunter. Jeff, I'm not sure if they've kind of got that technology yet. They're so far away from everyone. You know, we flew into Buenos Aires, which is for me, the most direct flight was Melbourne to Santiago and then across the mountains to Buenos Aires, which is on the other side of Argentina. And that took sort of about 16 and a half hours all up without the stopover time. Then to fly back to Mendoza was another nearly 3 hours back across the country. And then we got from Mendoza's, we jumped in buses and were driving around in buses for hours to get to different parts of Mendoza, particularly into the Uco Valley, which is miles away from anything. And then we flew up to Salta, which was another 2-hour flight north. And then we had a 3-hour bus drive to get from Salta to Cafayate, which is where we tasted some really special, interesting, sort of tropical high. Oh, really, Craig? What did you get sent? Send me a text message about what you got censored for this time. You're such a troublemaker. Finger Lakes think Cabernet Franc is their thing. It's very much not. Exactly. I think that you need slightly warmer climate, and I think that's the amount of sunshine and UV light in Argentina is very good for Cabernet Franc. So we had some really delicious Cabernet Francs while we were there. So that was interesting. A lot of the Malbecs were delicious as well, and I can understand why they're sort of focusing on Malbec. I don't think we want to try and grow Malbec here at Moorooduc. I think we've got other things that we want to concentrate on, and certainly not Torrentez. So I just think, we'll keep an eye out. The flight across the Andes is fab, Peter and Karen. On the way over, I got a beautiful shot of the snow-capped mountains. On the way back, it was nighttime, so I couldn't see anything. But the sunset was amazing because I saw, as we were flying from Buenos Aires across to Santiago, then you saw this. I was by the window, and you could see the sunset over the mountains, and then we crossed over the mountains and then saw the sunset again over the coastal ranges in Chile. And so I got a double sunset on the way home, which was gorgeous. And it was so beautiful. I didn't even think to take a photo of it because it was so lovely. G'day, Lions. How you going? You're home. You're on. Rescued a turtle from Graydon's Road. Oh, my goodness. Fish and chips. excellent. Fish and chips would be excellent with this 2016 Chardonnay. And those turtles, they get out and wander around, don't they? Silly old things. So well done for rescuing them. Catena was fantastic, Kay. Really beautiful visit. Amazing vineyards. Terrific wine. And we had one of the best at lunch at Catena. We had some of the best empanadas. They made these. They love a bit of meat in Argentina, and I didn't take any photos of the barbecues until I got to what was it called? Somewhere a bit further on in the Uco Valley. But at Catena, they cooked a whole lot of little juicy pork sausages and then cut them in half and made little sausage sandwiches, which were delicious. And then meat sandwiches as well with kind of very thin flatbread, which was delicious. The meat was fab. Cows are very nervy there. Absolutely, David. Fiona's brother's mother-in-law makes the best empanadas. Awesome. How many kangaroos live on... Hetkuma Patel is wanting to know how many kangaroos live on our property. We don't, as far as we know, we don't have any kangaroos on our property, but that's not really what we're talking about tonight, so we might leave it there. But Catena was amazing. And Laura Catena is a beautiful, awesome woman with lots of very strong opinions about things. So it was really nice to spend some time with her. And she served us a really beautiful hot pink Criosha, which reminded me a little bit of our Pinot Gris on skins. Really good lunch wine, really good with all those meaty flavours and pretty delicious. So we were very, very spoiled. And the visit to Catena after we were in the vineyard, we went where we had lunch was out in the middle of a little farm space, and there were horses and goats and llamas and things in pens and chickens pecking around. It was really lovely. So very spoiled. The wines opened up nicely like a splice ice cream. I know what you mean, Shell. A bit of pine lime splice going on. But I think it's more, for me, it's more lemon curd rather than that sort of green pineapple-y, limey kind of character of a splice. But it does have some of that sort of vanilla ice creamy kind of creaminess as well on the nose and the palate. So yeah, it's opened up really well. It's going well. So, everyone, I think that we're getting towards the end of the chat. I hope you enjoyed your cheese and honey. It's a little bit controversial with the dry white wine, but I think it worked quite well. And I think the wine looked amazing. So even if you didn't think the food and wine match, what did you think of the food and wine match, Jill? Honey and cheese? Oh. There's some honey here if you want it. You can have some later. Okay. Choripan, Argentine sausage and chimichurri. Yeah, we had that. It was awesome. Thank you, Kay. It's been fab. It's been really awesome, everyone. Akuma, this is not actually we're not talking about Yellowtail here. We're talking about Moorooduc Estate. So not particularly interested in engaging with that conversation. Thanks very much. But everyone, we're having a thanks for joining in the conversation though, Hakuma. Perhaps have a listen in and have a look out for some Moorooduc Estate wines. They're quite different from what you're asking about. Cotty, never thought of honey with wine. I know it's a beautiful way to have honey. You can drizzle it over some apple as well if you're wanting to do the apple and wine thing, which can work quite well. We're going to have a break again next week. I'm sorry, because I'm in Adelaide teaching MW students, and I know that I'm not going to be able to get away in time to do Drinks with Kate with you guys. I know we did it last time, but they've got me working a bit harder because I'm only there for a few days this time. So break next week, and then week 2 is on the 5th of December. I know I am tired, and I don't really want to go to Adelaide, Fiona, between you and me and the gatepost, but it'll be good when I get there. So, and then I'm not doing anything else until after Christmas. So, and Polly's not pleased. She's very unhappy that I've just come back and I'm talking about going away again. She's very unimpressed indeed. But on the 5th of December, we're going to be doing the pair to the Chardonnay, the 2016 Estate Pinot Noir, which is going to be lots of fun. I'll think of a good food and wine match, but you might want to also have some cheese on side, even a Manchego or an Osso Arati to taste with the Pinot Noir and see whether you think that it goes better with the Chardonnay or with the Pinot. But we'll have something else as a food match as well that I will email you about in a couple of Mondays. It's been lovely to see you all again. Take care. Thank you, Craig. I will talk to you all in another couple of weeks. Take care. Enjoy your last bit of November and enjoy your last bit of 2016 Estate Chardonnay. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Love you all. Cheers. Bye.